It is 12:01. Thank you, everybody, for joining. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Housatonic Heritage YouTube channel, as have public meetings in the past. This is one of two public meetings that we hold annually pursuant to Public Law 109-338 that created the Upper Housatonic Valley National Heritage Area. It requires us to hold two public meetings annually, so this is one of them. And thank you all for joining. I want to thank Caitlin for running logistics for us today. To the amazing board of trustees, many of whom are on today, but I will name individually. They make all this work possible and allow the organization Housatonic Heritage to do the great work that we do. Incidentally, it is just 25 years ago that we incorporated as a nonprofit seeking federal designation as a national heritage area. That was to come later in 2006. But we as an organization are now 25 years old. And I hope we have found to have been doing good work and will continue to do good work into the future. But I just wanted to mention that, yeah, we're a middle-aged organization now, hitting 25. So all good with that. Yeah, special thank you to the Board of Trustees and to many of our colleagues who are also here today to present on some of the work that's being done in the area, and also to everybody who is either a donor or a volunteer or a supporter in some way of the work that we do. I'm entirely grateful for all the support and love that we felt over the past 2.5 decades, and we couldn't do it without you. So I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Rob Hoogs, who is currently Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, trustees and attendees and partners of Housatonic Heritage. This is one of the great organizations. I think we've all interacted with Housatonic Heritage in different ways over the years, and I'm always impressed by these semi-annual meetings by all of the amazing programs that Housatonic Heritage supports, and it's a two-way street. The organizations, we help facilitate some of that work and supporting that. So it's always great to hear the reports from some of those programs. It's my great honor to welcome you all, and I'll turn it back to Dan to introduce some of the speakers.
Yeah, terrific. Thank you, Rob. And again, I do truly appreciate the support of the board and allowing Housatonic Heritage to be really where it specializes, and that is as a catalyst for great ideas. You know, I've always prided ourselves on allowing a heritage idea to become a heritage program and acting as that incubator for the many good programs that you're familiar with. And if you're not, you'll hear more about them today. I'll quickly read through our esteemed board of trustees. Again, my undying gratitude. Catherine Boughton, North Canaan Town Historian, on the call with us today. Maureen Dorr from Sharon. Mariah Fogg, who couldn't be with us today, with the Land Trust Alliance. Leslie Hertzberg, Berkshire County Historical Society. Rob Hoogs, Monterey Historical Commission. Paul Ivory, who's board emeritus, Great Barrington Historical Commission. Gary Levier, also on the call today, Great Barrington Historical Society. Aaliyah Del Molino, with Green Acres, a fabulous partner of ours. Paul O'Brien, Sheffield Historical Society. Marge Smith, Kent Historical Society. And I need to mention Jane Wynn with Berkshire Environmental Action Team, who just retired as our chair just within the last 60 days or so. But We we couldn't have made all this progress without all of them. And a special shout out to Jane for being our chair for the last couple of years. So I'm entirely grateful. Um, the list of programs, we have a list there. We can flash it on the screen for you. I'll just run through a couple of these that are near and dear to us. Some of our programs are currently very active. So the Iron Heritage Trail is one of our legacy programs. The African American Heritage Trail, again, one of our legacy programs that is currently undergoing, and you'll hear from Francis Jones Sneed in just a few moments on what this program is working on, including an updated visitor's guide. But among the many things that we've done is we've published the textbook African American Heritage in the Upper Housatonic Valley, a number of other titles under Housatonic Heritage as publisher, and now the work that Francis and David Levinson and a few others are working on, Bernie Drew. There's great work still going on behind the scenes that will be very public very soon. And one of the other things that we're supporting is the Troutbeck Symposium, which is an amazing consortium of 13 local schools, both public and private, who do independently student-led history programs, and then all the presentations are done at the Troutbeck Estate in late April or early May. It's a 2 or 3 day event where all the students do present their research work from the prior year. So an amazing program. Native American Heritage Trail, which includes the Mohican History Walking Tour of Main Street Stockbridge. Hopefully you've had a chance to visit that. The Housatonic Heritage Oral History Center, headed up by our own Judith Monachina, and you'll hear from her momentarily. The Du Bois National Historic Site Program, which includes the Du Bois Home Site, stewarded by UMass Amherst, the Du Bois Freedom Center, which was a program that we shepherded as fiscal sponsor to get it started, the former Clinton AME Zion Church, as well as 20 plus other Du Bois related sites in and around Great Barrington. Our Heritage Trails and Greenway program that supports local trail development, Operation Pollination. You'll hear from Vivian Orlowski in just a few moments. The annual Heritage Walks weekends, which again is one of our legacy programs that was suspended just for 2 years during COVID. So we are at our 23rd annual Heritage Walks, and they just concluded with, we had 82 Heritage Walks scheduled this year in 2025. 6 were canceled for various reasons, but we had more than 1,400 people take a Heritage Walk in September and early October. So again, a very robust season. We do a lot of promotion, so I know the multiplier effect of people who will pick up the brochure or visit the website and do a walk on their own at one of these many sites is much greater than the 1,400 who attended or registered and attended a guided hike. So we love that program. I hope you do too. Our Heritage Partnership Grant Program, which again is critical to us being an incubator and a catalyst for great heritage ideas. In this past fiscal year that just ended September 30, we, Housatonic Heritage, made a total of 19 grants totaling $420,792. So a very robust grants program this year that included the Du Bois Freedom Center and many history and cultural organizations throughout the region. There were some snafus because of the delay in federal funding, but we were able to overcome that and have a very robust grant program nonetheless, and that continues through the end of this year and into next year. And then the Western New England Greenway rounds out my list. That is our long distance bicycle route, starts in Norwalk, Connecticut, terminates at the Canadian border, roughly 280 miles long. And that is an ongoing program with dozens and dozens of partners over 3 states. So, again, couldn't do it without all the support of the board, all of our colleagues here, and all the volunteers and donors who make this kind of work possible. So That's the report, sort of an update on the programs and initiatives that are active right now. There's more detail about all of them at HousatonicheHeritage.org, if you're interested in finding out any more detail about them. I can give you also now a brief update on financials. We ended fiscal year 2025 with total revenues of about 802,000, total expenses of about 878,000, a net loss of about $75,000. So we're in a slightly uh, lower cash position than this time last year, but that is simply a function of the way the federal money flows into the program because we are a program of the National Park Service and are subject to appropriations and the subsequent release of those appropriations. So, um, in a good financial position, again, as always, um, though none are on the call today, I want to acknowledge, and I do acknowledge our congressional delegation, Representative Johanna Hayes, Connecticut's 5th District, Senators in Connecticut, Murphy and Blumenthal, Senators Markey and Warren of Massachusetts, and Representative Richard Neal of Berkshire, I think it's Massachusetts 1st District. So it we have unanimous support year after year from our congressional delegates, and for that, I remain entirely grateful as well. So um, thank you for that. Um, Let's see. At this point, we should turn it over to some of our presenters. First up is Judith Monachina, Director of the Housatonic Heritage Oral History Center at Berkshire Community College. Judith.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Thank you, board. Thank you, Dan. I had a lot of time with the board during the summer, so I'm going to take up less of your time today. You have a big list of presenters today, but I want to just quickly run through a couple of things. Just things that will wrap up some projects this fall. Manos Unidas will have an event that's oral history and art, and it's about on the theme of immigration. That was a Mass Humanities grant, and we were the Mass Humanities advisor on that project. It's been a very productive and interesting and well-run project that I simply was advisor on, doing trainings and advising. Sheffield Land Trust, their oral history, Voices from the Fields is going into Digital Commonwealth now. They're working on their metadata spreadsheet, and there were many steps that led to this, including digital copying. We gave them a small grant to hire someone to do the digital copying and to get it ready, to help get it ready. But Judy Magenis has done most of the work, and she's been incredibly productive and really great, devoted to this project. The Digital Commonwealth is where we're putting everything. That's our archive in Massachusetts, and then there's also the Digital Archive in Connecticut. So we have 2 different archives that we are working with. And so now we'll have 3 projects in the Digital Commonwealth, Tyringham, NAACP, and this one, Sheffield Farms. Next will be Berkshire Community College, and we'll just keep hoping to get all of them in by February. We talked about podcasts last time. We have a podcast program where we make podcasts based on using oral histories that we have that are very long, and we try to make more accessible some of the stories from these oral histories. I don't know, Dan, if you got the email today from Buzzsprout too, but we have had 1,000 downloads. That's pretty good. But I am meeting with someone at the Oral History Association meeting next week who does this more professionally, and they will help me get into the right directories and all that. So we're also next week at the Oral History Association annual meeting. I'm starting something called the Northeast Regional Oral History Group, because we don't have an Oral History Association Northeast group. The rest of the country has these little groups, and they serve as sort of open. like listserv type. You can ask someone, throw a question out to your colleagues, and someone will help you find the answer if you don't know it yourself. It's really important. There's so much going on, especially in digital archiving and ethical issues and legal issues. So that should be good. But what I really want to talk to you about, and I'll try not to take too long, is the paper projects this fall. I'm really excited about them. On the right, that image of Ben Willis is you may know him because he helps with the Troutbeck Symposium. He helps make student films. He helps the students make films for the Troutbeck Symposium, and he's helping us do a mini documentary about onyx. The mill that you see in the lower right of this slide is the onyx mill. It's the Willow Mill, and it was the last. All of the mills were being closed or put up for sale in 2008. All of the mills in Lee, and that's how I met Housatonic Heritage. I was interviewing people from the mills at that time. But we have done a short piece on the mills in general and the history of the mills. And now we're working on a piece about onyx in particular and the couple that bought that mill, and embedded in the story is the history of paper making in the region. We're also doing an oral history with Crane and Company, the museum. And something very new this year, we just hired an intern, a BCC student, working with the history department, 2 history professors, and the Berkshire Athenaeum and Berkshire Art Center on North Street. We're doing research about the role of paper in the American Revolution. And even though it's not oral history, it's sort of finding the role of our paper mills. Our paper mills were not built yet, but there were paper mills in the eastern part of the state that supplied paper for people like Paul Revere and his broadsides, and people and the 4 newspapers in Boston at the time of the Revolution. Paper was brand new in the colonies at that time, 1690 in Philadelphia, 1700s in Boston. So we're trying to explore the role of paper in the new Democratic Republic, and the role of our paper mills also, which made newsprint when they came online in the 1800s. The role of that paper, the technology of paper, which was a new technology here, in helping people learn and form their ideas about, they were new citizens of a new form of government. And what does it mean to be a citizen in a democratic republic? And so how did newspapers and broadsides help them make that decision? And what role did our paper mills have in that in those early years? And then we will make our own broadsides. Berkshire Art Center is going to work with students to make broadsides, which are, like posters essentially. And they were huge in the communication during the Revolution and during that time. And people still make broadsides, but they were an important form of communication, including the famous Paul Revere broadside of the Boston Massacre, which sort of helped Boston rally. So I'm excited about this because it's something totally new for us. We're going deep back, but we're also including the stories of our mills as places where paper was made, hundreds of different kinds, places that employed people, but also places that had a role in the early years of our country. So, and also making art. So I'm excited. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Judith. Appreciate that. There's so much more to what Judith does at the oralhistorycenter.org. That's our website for the Oral History Center or the Housatonic Heritage Oral History Center at Berkshire Community College, a partnership with Berkshire Community College, and we're grateful for their support as well. Next up, Frances Jones Sneed, and I think you have some graphics, correct?
Yes, too many. Is Caitlin going to put those graphics up or? Okay, thank you, Caitlin. So I just wanted to say that we're really pleased to be a legacy project starting at the very beginning with Housatonic Heritage. So we are 25 years old as well. And so with that textbook that we printed in 2006. Will be 20 years old. And so we want to update that with a kind of a handheld guide. And so we've been working on that over a year, really kind of extending that. Caitlin, can you go to the next slide? So the 2025 edition is on track with partnership and outreach expanding. We want to request a renewed multi-year support that to help scale the K through 12 and digital initiatives. So we want to go into a kind of a new version of the African American Heritage Trail and what we do. Next, Caitlin. So that's just our mission. This revised and expanded Heritage Trail Guide for 2025. We've expanded our sites and interpretations, including home sites, congregation. Our goal is to look at K through 12 curricula, lots of public programs and oral histories, Julia, and also do a digital presence of website maps and educators portals. Next. So our manuscript expansions for the North, Central, and South Berkshires, we do a history or a summary of those areas, and then we do the specific towns and we've also included, which is outside of the area, but we go from the very tip of Berkshire County, starting in North County, going down to South County, and then to Northwestern Connecticut as well. We're looking at teaching guides, which are already drafted and adaptable for secondary use. Our children's series, as well as story collection, is in development. And we want to have a deepened partnership with archives, libraries, and historical societies. And we visited every one of those in Northwestern Connecticut and Berkshire County to ask about their holdings. The updated guide has new scholarship invented. We have maps and images, and the edited work is in progress. It's at the editor at this point in time, and hopefully it will be ready to go to print soon. Next, Caitlin. So education and curriculum is a 4-week unit for the 54th Regiment. We have worksheets. We want teachers workshop as well as PD outlines drafted as well. Next, community engagement and programs. As I said before, collaborations with local libraries and museums, talks, walking tours, and also oral history intake is also ongoing. So what we want to do that it's not included in this handheld guide is that we want to go to the digital and website in a modern academic website structured, drafted. We want an interactive map concept for the Heritage Trail Guides. We want educational downloads for lesson plans and student handouts. So that is kind of the second part of hopefully that we'll do that as soon as this printed guide is out. So educators reach via the workshops and talks about 120. Our community event attendance over time has been over 600. We've abstracted over 300 archival records, and new entries that we prepared are 50 plus. We only had about 27 in 2006, and now we all have over 50. Next. And so this is our timeline that we've completed the regional chapters, the curriculum, the sponsors and acknowledgement. In progress, we are looking at the images and trying to, of course, get all of the information that we can. Website build up and the portal, the pilot teacher PD series. And so next is the final proofing and print files and expanded digital exhibits and oral history microsite. So, Skip, we think that that we have everything in hand, and hopefully this pilot will be one that people will talk about and give us our input one way or the other. Next. So your support unlocks the next 12 months for us. And we want to thank you so much for prior support and any future support that you would give this project, because this project over the last 20 plus years has been really, really invaluable. And the kind of feedback that we've gotten as a result of this has just been overwhelming. Of course, the 2006 guide is out of print, and people keep asking, where can they get it? It is, you can go to any place to get it. It costs much more than than the original, and I keep holding on to the last copy that I have of it. So it's very rewarding that we can put something out. The team is David Levinson, Rachel Fletcher, Bernie Drew, Caitlin McKeon, who's doing this whole thing here, as well as a lot of other community members that added to this. So thank you very much.
Excellent. And, as Francis said, 25 years plus on different iterations of the African American Heritage Trail program. And so I'm entirely grateful for all the work that's been done and the fact that we are able to support it in such a long-term and meaningful way. So thank you so much, Francis. Let's see, up on the docket. Yeah, Sarah, the mastheads. Take it away.
Okay. Can I share my screen, Caitlin?
Oh, yeah. Can I make you a co-host? I'm sorry.
I think if you just
Yeah.
enable, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Put this here. So my name is Sarah Trudgeon. I'm the literary director of The Mastheads, a public arts and humanities project based in Pittsfield. And so I'll just give a little summary of our last year. It was our 9th year of programming, and we're going into our 10th year, which feels unbelievable to me. And we're so, again, like everyone here, so grateful for your support. So we have a couple of different projects. The physical spaces of the mastheads are 5 less mobile architectural writing studios that are installed at Melville's Arrowhead. Each one is named for a Berkshire author who wrote in Pittsfield during the American Renaissance. And every summer we host a residency where writers apply from all over the country to come live in Pittsfield and work in the studios. And so we had our 9th residency this summer with nonfiction writer Sophie Thanhauser, poet Sylvia Jones and Matthew Broadus, musician and fiction writer Lily Goldberg, and playwright Justine Gelfman, who are all really wonderful writers. And each year it's exciting to see the different genres and exciting to see these emerging writers come live in Pittsfield and then go on to publish novels, and you get the novel back and it says thank you to the support of the mastheads, and it's the best thing. And so it's a huge part of what we do. The studios are now also 9 years old, so we made some essential repairs to Longfellow and Thoreau. These are studios that live outdoors all year round, and they're covered in snow and the bugs get to them. And so they just require a little maintenance here and then, but we did some major repairs. And then outside of the July residency, local writers and artists can come work in the studios. And this is also another very fun program because people make sort of these pilgrimages to the Berkshires, and they're excited to have a place, they're excited about the writers who were here, and they're excited to write in this place and write at Melville's house and hike around the grounds. So artists of all kinds come, not just writers for the day residency program. We've had textile artists and musicians and nonfiction writers and scholars. So that's really lovely as well. We another big project is our Fireside Poetry in Schools program. So we go teach 10-week or so poetry workshops throughout Pittsfield Public Schools. This past year, we taught 11 10-week poetry workshops across 3 schools, uh, providing poetry workshops to 203 students from 2nd grade through high school. So the entire 2nd and 3rd grade at Morningside Elementary School, and that, a few after school programs and 2 sections of ESL high school students at Pittsfield High School. So that was a new program and really, really fun to work with students whose native language is not English. And so we were able to do a lot of translation and actually not just translation, but writing poetry in English and then also writing it in their native language, which are totally different alphabets. They were writing these poems in Thai alphabet or or Korean, and it was really fun. And we also taught our 3rd Fireside Teachers Institute program, where we teach public school teachers how to bring poetry writing to their own classrooms. So we did that with the 2nd grade team at Morningside. And it's just another way of, of creating sustainability with our programming. So it's not just us coming in, public school teachers know how to do it themselves. And it's a really joyful thing to teach poetry to students. They love it. They think it is so much fun. And it's nice, I think, for public school teachers to be able to have that just totally positive experience with their kids. At the end of every workshop, we publish an anthology of student work. So we created 5 anthologies of student poetry, but for our other 6 workshops, we created these published anthologies with a New York City-based press called Citation Needed. And Citation Needed was actually started by a person named Ari Wolf, who was a teaching artist with the Mastheads in 2019. And she's an artist, and after she taught poetry and a little bit of art with our students, she went on to make that her career, and she left and she went to New York, and now she has started a press called Citation Needed that publishes only work by children. So that's just another sort of full circle moment. It's, the way Dan was saying, Housatonic heritage, it's like this idea, this kind of accelerator program, and you never know what's going to happen after. But so this was a very fun project to have her come back and work on this with us. So then we partnered with MCLA to create these really beautiful books. They were printed on letterpress and risograph machines, and we brought our ESL students from Pittsfield High School to the press room at MCLA to help us work on these books. So they learned how to use the risograph and how to operate the letterpress machines, how you have to score and fold a book, how you have to staple it. So a really hands-on experience, and they also got to visit a local college. So this was a new program, and we're going to do it again. Oh, and the other very exciting thing was these books were then accepted with Citation Needed to the New York Art Book Fair in Queens. I guess it was September. So a huge, and there are 2 or 3 like really major art book fairs across the country, and this is one of them. And so thousands of people got to come see these books and buy them and read work by Berkshire students, Pittsfield students, which is, yeah. And they were just really selling people to see somebody pick up a book and read this poem by a student who wrote and love it and buy it is what a great experience. We had 3 major events. The one is Party in Kellogg Park, which is now an annual event where we bring all of our students from Morningside who participated in poetry workshops that year to come. They're invited to recite their work, to perform their songs that they've written. We have songwriting program with Johnny Arion, who's pictured. And and we invite the whole neighborhood. So, and we bring wood-fired pizza by Soma, and we just throw a very high quality arts party at Kellogg Park, which is a park that was designed by Tessa Kelly, who I do the mastheads with, and her architecture firm designed the park. And when it was first designed, we engraved lines of Morningside student poetry on the walls. And so it's a poetry park, and every year we throw this big party there. We released our books. Flying Cloud was there, Berkshire Art Center was there, MAPS was there, and students come right after school, and their families come and they eat pizza and perform their songs on stage. And people were also, that was our kickoff for our publications. We had a reading at the bookstore in Lenox with our writers in residence, and then again another big party at Arrowhead, a lantern party where our residents read, and we had sort of organizational partners and supporters there. There was a great story about our book project in the Berkshire Eagle. It was a multi-part story where they followed us around followed our poetry workshops around over the spring. So they came to a workshop at the school, they came to MCLA, and then they came to the book release party, and they published excerpts of student poetry and photos of our students and stories about what they were writing. So that was really fun, and very fun to bring this newspaper to our students and show them that their pictures and their art and their poems were in the newspaper. I think that's it. Oh, looking ahead, that's not it. We'll do poetry workshops at Muddy Brook Elementary, Conti, Morningside, and Pittsfield. We're going to continue the partnership with Citation Union and NCLA. We'll do more design projects featuring student work. Every year we embroider hats with student poetry, and other projects have been billboards or sidewalks or these sort of very large public displays of student work, because we want to celebrate the things that they're writing. And we'll host our 10th writers residency. Oh, and I also should say our fireside program, a lot of the work we use to inspire student writing is work written by Berkshire authors. So again, just coming back to this idea that the Berkshires is a place where there were these great writers and has a great literary tradition, and the people who live here, that tradition belongs to them, and they can engage with it and make it their own. So thanks.
Yeah, excellent. So pleased that Housatonic Heritage can and continue to be the fiscal sponsor and provide the support that we do for your amazing work. Thank you, Sarah.
We're so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Next up, so the African American Heritage Trail comes in so many different iterations, and David Levinson, who is working with Francis on this newest version of African American Heritage Visitors Guide, is working on a side project. Just actually came back from the printers. So David, turn it over to you.
Okay, the project is called the Glory Trail, the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry Regiment in the Civil War. And I undertook this as kind of a spin-off and a complementary project to the 54th Massachusetts Regiment Trail, which I think it was way back in 2006 that Housatonic Heritage first developed. And what I saw, and this trail, the interesting thing about the trail, the Glory Trail, is it's not in the Housatonic Valley. The trail is actually in the south. There's 21 sites, and 17 are in South Carolina, 3 are in Florida, and 1 is in Georgia. And the question I was trying to answer in developing the trail was, what did the 54th actually do during the Civil War? They were down there for 26 months. And when I tried to answer the question for myself, I found that there was no one general public to answer the question and to give you some broader context about the social, political, military environment they were operating in. And I also wanted to link it to the earlier trail. And so I focus on the men from the Housatonic, Upper Housatonic Valley, about 80 some men who served in the 54th. So I pay some special attention to them. And what it does is it takes people to 21 sites, battlefields where the 54th fought, antebellum mansions that were converted in Beaufort and other places in South Carolina that were converted to hospitals where the soldiers were treated, monuments, churches, and homes, and encampment sites, several of which had been plantations and now where Union troops were stationed. And it was actually turned out to be a fun and very easy project to do because, to my surprise, I found there was tremendous interest in the 54th down south. There's plenty of historical markers that mention them. There's a lot of literature about them, and there are plenty of people I got to meet and talk with who are interested in it. It struck me as a little, I didn't quite understand why, but the Civil War is still a big topic in the South, and anything with the Civil War gets a lot of attention. So that's basically the project. And as Dan said, it just got published a couple of weeks ago. And it's being sent out to places down in the South now who are involved. And we'll see, we'll see what the level of interest is in it. So that about covers it.
Yeah, thank you, David. And yeah, the brochure is out in print if anybody has an interest in seeing. As David said, Mass 54th Regiment, is widely covered here. The formation of it, who served, etc. But yeah, what did they actually do? And this is where they went. So it's an intriguing read. And David, thank you for doing the heavy lifting on this. And again, so pleased that we could support the publication. Pretty amazing stuff. So let me know if anybody is interested in a copy of the brochure. Happy to drop it in the mail to you. Next up, Operation Pollination, originally a program by the National Park Service Midwest region. We've adopted our own version of it, and we support all things pollinator in the region. Vivian Orlowski is our Operation Pollination coordinator. I'm going to give us an update, Vivian.
Thank you. Let me try to share screen. Can you now see my screen? This is my first time I've done sharing the screen. I've usually depended on you and others, helpers from Housatonic Heritage to do the slideshow. So this is okay, right?
It is.
Great. Well, thank you for this opportunity. And I also appreciate everyone listening to all these great presentations and hopefully to learning a little bit more about Operation Pollination. I'm trying to go there, next slide. Operation Pollination Summit basically launched the program with a gathering of over 40 participants from the Berkshires and Northwest Connecticut. In 2019, we were set back in our activities a little bit in 2020 due to COVID, but we developed a consensus to prioritize education. And today's presentation is just a few highlights, a quick summary of how we are advancing the education priority, all based in collaboration, both at the local level with a new group that's just getting underway, Egremont Pollinator Protection Initiative, regionally by serving on the site design subcommittee at Monument Mountain Regional High School, and at the state level of with the Massachusetts Pollinator Network, serving with 7 others on the steering committee. Now, at the 2019 summit, we had a great group, some of whom are watching today, I see, or attending today. But one person from that group played a key role in advancing pollinators. It was Elizabeth Keene from Indian Line Farm and the Agricultural Commission, helping to get funding and support and community involvement for creating the Egremont Pollinator Pathway as designed by Evan Abramson from Landscape Interactions. And this then led to nowadays to this new initiative just started this summer of people talking about a pollinator protection initiative. Back in 2020, partnerships included the Ag Commission, the Indian Line Farm, Greenagers, the town's groundskeeper, and many volunteers. And over 10,000 square feet of land was cleared for the pollinator pathway, and over 38 species of native plants that were especially friendly to pollinators that were in danger here in our region and Massachusetts in general. The site of the pollinator pathway became a great resource and was used by Housatonic Heritage to join with the Rotary District 7890, which covers 3 chapters in our area in Pittsfield, Great Barrington, and Salisbury, but also a large number of chapters in Western Mass and Western Connecticut, and to sign on with the pollinator resolution, the Southern New England Pollinator Partnership. And you saw Dan there with, at that time, Randy Chappelle, who was chairing the Rotary District. And now we're hoping, looking to the future, that Rotary will be involved and potential resource for our activities. Another potential education collaboration that participated in the Egremont Pollinator Pathway is Greenagers, and the Eagle recently highlighted how Greenagers show lawmakers how teens are tackling climate change, and they featured in climate change the importance of plants and, of course, pollinators that rely on these plants. Greenagers also continued on the regional level involvement in co-sponsoring Housatonic Heritage's site plan for new Monument Mountain Regional High School with a presentation on perennials, pollinators, and permaculture, planning a climate resilient campus with award-winning author Eric Tonesmeyer. And Eric has been involved with the international effort on Project Drawdown on climate change, and also very much involved in developing pollinator toolkits and perennial toolkits and permaculture toolkits for being more climate resilient to disasters, which could happen anywhere. So thanks to Greenagers and also to Berkshire Conservation District, which worked with us to develop this webinar and show it to the designers and the leadership committee at planning Monument Mountain Regional High School. Now, what they've done with it is put it to the side as they focus on the actual structure, which is going to be set into the hill, and their views show wonderful architectural representation and only very generic plants. You can also see that from the other side of the hill, where the front of the building will be, and a very modern and sustainable internally design. We've been told that once the three towns in the school district, West Stockbridge, Stockbridge, and Great Barrington, approve the funding for this new effort, this major new effort for the high school, then we can get into the details on what we learned about from Eric back in earlier into 2025. So that will be later in 2025 and into 2026. Another effort on the statewide level is the Massachusetts Pollinator Network, where Housatonic Heritage was a founding sponsor. And Operation Pollination has continued to serve on the steering committee, which was created as a NOFA, Northeast Organic Farming Association, a Massachusetts chapter program in 2021, and was involved in both agriculture and other efforts on behalf of pollinators. And in 2025, we transitioned from being a program of NOFA Mass to Grow Native Massachusetts, which takes a more focus on outreach to residents and communities and towns, and also state government policy. So by joining Grow Native Massachusetts, we were able to reduce our time on fundraising to basically very little, where Grow Native Massachusetts was able to pick up on the fundraising, and we were able to concentrate and greatly expand our monthly webinars, our monthly habitat chats, which are informal, spontaneous online group, which is becoming very popular with more than 50 people usually participating, and attending events where we hand out information and have an online Google group. One example of the monthly presentations that is relevant to our most relevant to our educational efforts and outreach to schools and colleges is the Massachusetts Pollinator Network 2025 recent presentation by the co-director, excuse me, and founder of a group called Rewild Your Campus, which focuses on reducing the amount of lawns and use of pesticides and all sorts of chemical products on campus territory and land, and involving and training students to be active participants in that, as well as setting up an institutional program called Green Ground Certification, which I'm going to investigate if that has potential to have BCC, especially with their 15-acre John Lambert Trail and Meadow, which already exists, is a great example of what Rewild Your Campus would value and appreciate and feature, as they do many efforts at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, which is at the gold level of Green Ground certification. We might even make the platinum level, especially considering Housatonic Heritage's previous efforts with the Conway School and many faculty and staff at BCC on creating a living laboratory on the learning landscape there. It could really be a great example regionally, statewide, and nationally. Overall, the Housatonic Heritage Operation Pollination Vision for Nature, which we contributed to when the state requested input from local groups, was a vision for nature in 2050, which prioritizes broader understanding that life as we know it depends on pollinators. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vivian. I appreciate that. Always a lot of activity in pollinator protection. And yeah, thank you for leading the charge for Housatonic Heritage. And up next, Major Talcott in Great Barrington. I'm just gonna turn this over to Amelia and Christine to talk more about this, but it has to do with the many of you may be familiar. There is a stone marker at the Bridge Street intersection with the Housatonic Riverwalk, and I'm going to turn it over to Christine and Amelia to talk about this.
Okay, great. Having some technical difficulties. Can you turn down yours? But thankfully, we're right next to each other, so it all works out.
Okay, well, firstly, I want to say I'm just humming with the amount of information I've heard from all of these amazing projects. It's so exciting to hear what's happening in Berkshire County in so many ways, and I feel like, boy, I'm out of touch. I really need to pay more attention to all these amazing things that are happening. As you may know, Riverwalk is a long term recipient of Housatonic Heritage Support. And Riverwalk is the oldest trail project of Great Barrington Land Conservancy. My name is Christine Ward, and I'm the current president of the Land Conservancy and also the director for Riverwalk, specifically following on the amazing work by Rachel Fletcher. As you also may know, we have many connections of Riverwalk to history, including our upstream connections with William Stanley and our downstream connections with W.E.B. Du Bois. And we have been working towards some expression and a much better expression of our connections to our Native American history. And just as a small part of that larger goal, we're looking for your support and help as we look at the complex history of the Talcott Stone that is located on Bridge Street and is adjacent to the Riverwalk Trail on the downstream section. We have been informed by Rachel Fletcher and her early connections to the Stockbridge Munsee tribe that we should understand the importance of continuing to feature the information as a very important expression of our history. But we've also been challenged by the complexities of what the stone represents and the accuracy of the information that is presented. We reached out to Dan for some support, and he's been helping us, and he asked us to ask you for help too, and to provide where we are so far for your input and recommendations. So we're very much in a draft process here, and we're looking for your help to go forward. I'm going to let you know that Amelia is a gift from the universe and an amazing, archivist and super support for me at Riverwalk. And she's been working hard on this. I'm going to let her share the draft that we have today and a little bit, and the footnotes that are available for the information that we're sharing for your consideration. I also know that our time is limited. I see that we're 1 minute after our time. So we'll be brief, and then we will look for your input in any way that Dan suggests is the best way to get it.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And thank you to Dan and to everyone today. This is so exciting. So this is the result of much research, and there's a very extended bibliography for anybody who's interested. And the sources, range, including Bernie Drew, who's one of our local historians, on the books he's written on the topic. So if anybody's interested in taking a look at that, we have that available. But I'll just quickly read what the draft version we have so far, which you can read here on the screen. So in August of 1904, the Berkshire Historical Society and the Thursday Morning Club took part in a dedication of a stone marker at Bridge Street during Great Barrington's Old Home Week. This marker commemorated an old Indian fordway, which was purportedly the scene of the Talcott Raid, a massacre of a group of 24 Narragansett people who were heading westward out of southern New England in August of 1676 during the conflict known as King Philip's War. The Talcott Raid was one of the first documented incursions by colonial forces into the upper Housatonic Valley. The precise location of the massacre is disputed. Some sources place it as far south as Sheffield or Salisbury, Connecticut, so the monument should not be considered authoritative on this point. Today, this marker can serve to inform the public about the Wampanoag, the Narragansett, Nipmuc, and Pecumpic tribes who united together during 1675 to 1678 to fight the encroachment of European settlers on their ancestral lands. Hundreds of Native Americans were publicly executed or enslaved, and the survivors were forced into diaspora. King Philip's War is considered by many to be the deadliest war in colonial American history. And on the original marker, which you can't read now, it's been weathered over time. This is a stone marker. It reads, 20 rods north of this stone was the old Indian fordway on the middle trail from Westfield to the Hudson River. Nearby was the site of the Great Wigwam, where Major John Talcott overtook and dispersed a party of Indians in August of 1676. So this is our draft version based on many different sources, which we can go to into the bibliography if anybody's interested, but we're not experts on the subject. So we welcome all feedback and suggestions going forward on how to create a signage interpreting this marker so that the public can get a sense of the history of what this marker is and what it represents.
I would also say that this would be a connection piece and that it would include a connection to the existing Native American trail at Housatonic Heritage, and that we are also reaching out to the Stockbridge-Munsee tribe for a land acknowledgement signage and display that would be separate from this space, but connected, of course, in terms of history. And also, that's the work we're engaged in now, and we welcome your feedback and suggestions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christine and Amelia. It's amazing. Yeah, I appreciate the follow-up and working with the Stockbridge-Munsee community to ask the questions and question and reveal new research as we do. So I truly appreciate that, and the support is ongoing. So we'll see where this takes us.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah. We flew right past our time, and I know it's somewhat of a disservice to try and cram a whole bunch of great programming and projects into a 1 hour, synopsis, because all of you and all of us do so much more than we can possibly cover in an hour. And we're always bursting at the seams, and maybe that's the way we're designed. So again, truly grateful for all of you, for our colleagues, for the Board of Trustees who allow us to get all this work done, and the support of our donors and volunteers. As always, if there are questions, I guess you all know how to reach me. info@housatonicheritage.org is our general email box, or visit our website and click through from there, or just call me at the office. So anyway, if there are no further questions, we'll adjourn today's meeting. As I mentioned, we'll post this on our YouTube channel, the Housatonic Heritage YouTube channel, to live on in perpetuity as does the digital world. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Dan, and just so much of this happens because of you, and we're so happy to again all of these programs, but you are the keystone that brings all these together. So thank you so much for all your great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Dan.
take care.
Thanks, everybody. It was a great meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.